Good morning, all. Let me know if the sound's working and if everything is hunky dory. Got the chat bot happening. I've got a lot of stuff to do, so this is going to be a fun one. Can anybody hear me? Is one of the important questions. No, I haven't got anything in the chat yet. Yep, Darren, hi. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff. I've got a bit of a haul. Going to talk a bit about going to the movies recently. Not going to review the movie that I saw yesterday or the day before. Hi, FG, how you doing? So yeah, it's going to be the December live stream, but I may well do one at midnight on New Year's Eve, the way I did last year, unless I get a better offer for a party. So I'll probably do from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. my time as a New Year's Eve thing. See how that works. It was fun last time, so I may well do it this time. So we're getting 2 in 1 month technically. And the other thing I've got to remember, which Middle Aged Geek Girl reminded me of last time, is I have to read out the chat slower than I did. So if I start reading out the chat too fast, everybody let me know. So how is everybody? Yesterday here it was 37 degrees centigrade and really humid and really windy. And last night we got a whole dump of rain, and now it's much cooler, but it's still raining. Hey, Captor, Noftum's Notebook. Hi, how are you? So yeah, there's lots of things. I've even got some books to recommend. So I'll wait for a little bit. And how's everybody spending the day? I know it's nighttime where most of you are. How's the weather where you are? Hi, Donna Pass Whiskey. How are you doing? So yeah, we finally got summer, which was nice because I know middle-aged geek girl doesn't particularly like summer, but I love summer. Even when it gets crazy like it was yesterday, I'm there. I like warm weather. I like not wearing shoes. I like wearing light clothing. And I like the long, long days that we get in summertime. Even when, and it was good yesterday. Well, Brisbane, Darren, 25 cloudy, and max of 30. Yeah, that's not too bad. I can handle that. I even handle wet season in Darwin, which is way up in the tropics. And it got really hot and humid. I had no problem with it. Yes, I know you hate summer, middle-aged geek girl. FG, it's unseasonably warm and overcast in eastern Kansas. Yeah, global warming. What can you do? 42 degrees bent. And which way are you in Perth or what? Because yeah, 42 degrees is just bordering on unacceptable. I was actually out in Melbourne once, and it was 48 degrees during the big storms we had about 12 years ago. And I was standing on a street corner, and just being out there for 10 minutes almost knocked me out. It was crazily bad. Noon here in California, sunny today after 2 days of snow. West Sydney. Yeah, I was born in West Sydney. I was born in Fairfield, and I lived in Liverpool for a long time. Also lived in Austral, and I lived in Lanier, whole bunch of places. But yeah, Minnesota unseasonably warm, 50 Fahrenheit. Shit, that is warm, Cap. Keith F, very wet here. Noel Clooney, hi. Pleasantly mild winter evening in Ireland. Cool. Okay, let's get started with this. I was going to talk about physical media for just a little bit because there's some really interesting things happening with physical media at the moment, which I really wanted to touch on. For a start, there's a lot of it in charity shops. Look around and there are whole shelves of it. There are almost as many DVDs and Blu-rays in charity shops now as there are really ugly dolls, and that's interesting. A lot of people are divesting themselves of their physical media, and so even though you do have to cherry pick through a lot of bad stuff, including Baz and Luhrmann films, there's a lot of stuff out here that's going wild, and it's very localized. Because I was in St Albans, which is a suburb I don't normally go to, and I went into an op shop and there were Korean DVDs, which I wasn't expecting. Fortunately, they had English subtitles. There were Australian pressings, but you get that kind of localization, which is a good thing if you're inclined to, like me, go out and look around and go to different places that you normally don't go to try to find some physical media. Darren says, a friend and I rate op shops on copies of Australia. Yeah, well, if an op shop doesn't have a copy of Australia, is it really an op shop? Yeah, there's Moulin Rouge, and The Great Gatsby's the other one I find. All of the Baz Luhrmann movies that turn up in op shops. Occasionally you see Strictly Ballroom, but less so than all of the other ones. Yep, Keith, let's get physical. And yeah, so there are tons and tons of them. It's amazing how much there is. Doug Sims, I don't understand the people getting rid of physical media. Keep your favorites at least. Yeah, absolutely. My problem is I've got thousands of favorites. But yeah, I mean, obviously there are reasons why people do get rid of the physical media. There are deceased estates, of course. There are also people who need to downsize for reasons of space, and I totally understand and accept that. There are people who buy lots and lots of who will buy storage containers when people don't pay the bills, and they get a whole bunch of physical media and just dump it in the charity stores. There are a whole bunch of reasons why. I'm trying to be more selective. If I see Blu-rays, I'm inclined to get Blu-rays rather than DVDs these days. Though I do have a lot of DVDs and I will watch them, particularly if it's something that I haven't seen before. But yeah, it's a golden age of that. And then on top of that, you've got companies like Umbrella and Imprint and a bunch of other players in the market who are pumping out some really obscure but really interesting things. And I've just seen the latest lot that Viavision, which is Imprint's parent company, are doing as far as putting out old stuff. There's things like the old TV series from England, On the Buses. They're putting out deluxe Blu-ray editions of On the Buses. I think they may have got UK pressings of them. Good morning, Damien. You are up crazy early, mate. You're mad. But yeah, it's a weird thing that suddenly there's this resurgence and a renaissance of physical media here in Australia. The number of really deep cuts that I'm seeing from Imprint and Umbrella and other companies. And Umbrella's expanding as well. They're doing Umbrella Asia, so there are going to be more Asian movies and Asian series coming up from Umbrella, which, there are weak spots in my knowledge of that stuff. I know some Japanese stuff. I also know some Hong Kong stuff. But there are going to be some things coming out on that that are going to be really interesting and really welcome, because I never want to know less about movies. I always want to keep expanding my knowledge. And I couldn't get back to sleep. Okay, Damien, get a coffee, mate, and stick around for 2 hours and then go back to sleep. But yeah, so it's a really interesting time. It's kind of like that renaissance in vinyl that came out, but it's a much accelerated process because DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks are still in the market, but are suddenly surging, which I love. Doug says, it's funny how it's changed. Media collections have become niche. Used to be everybody had DVDs, etc. Yeah, that's because nobody wanted to buy Foxtel, which is the cable service that survived the cable wars here in Australia. And streaming hadn't quite come on board hadn't come on board at that stage. Hey, Taker 68, how you doing? So yeah, I love it. I just got a new order form for Imprint and Viavision, and I've ordered some things. They've got some really crazy stuff coming out on 4K soon, which hopefully they'll give me copies of. But things like they're putting the Magnificent Seven out, and also some deep cut 1980s horror stuff's coming out on 4K from Viavision. So I'm really looking forward to that stuff. Damien says, I have to get up and go to work at 9:45. Oh, caffeine is your friend, mate. Sorry that you've got to do that. Clayton, hi. Physical media, 23 cents in Central Texas. So 23C in Central Texas. So springtime at 74F. Winter will be back on Monday, however. Yeah, I mean, you guys get some brutal winter storms there. So, yeah, crazy stuff. But yeah, physical media, it's really, really an interesting phenomenon. And I think one of the problems and one of the reasons why there is that resurgence, by the way, new hat with the cat on it, is that people are seeing things on streaming, and then when they go to watch it, it's disappeared already. And there's also a thing where people bought media in America on certain platforms in digital form, and those platforms are now sending them emails saying, "Sorry, all your stuff is going. We no longer have the rights to that, so we're not going to provide you with the stuff you paid to own." So there is a lot of people getting the dirty end of the stick as far as digital copies of things are concerned, and that's of course pissing them off. Damien says, "I'm looking forward to what Viavision doing. Just ordered Umbrella, Dr. Crippen." Yeah, Dr. Crippen's a nice deep cut. I picked up a DVD of that when I was in Tasmania a few years ago. There was a really weird little corner store which had been adapted to selling secondhand DVDs and Blu-rays. And middle-aged geek girl and I went in there, and they had a copy of Dr. Crippen for a few bucks. So I picked that up. It's a fairly old pressing, but it didn't have a release apart from that in Australia, and I didn't even know about it. But I picked up Dr. Crippen. I know that middle-aged geek girl watched it and really enjoyed it, but I haven't watched it yet. Cheers, all the Greg. How you doing? Taker 68 just bought 4 DVDs from my library. There's an extra bonus disc in one of the cases. Extra disc in one of the cases. Bonus. Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing what you find inside DVD cases and inside books when you buy them secondhand as well. Stuff doesn't even make it to disc. Wrong. Yeah, absolutely. In Australia, Disney's not releasing any more physical media. So when we want the Indiana Jones movie, The Dial of Destiny, which middle-aged good girl is going to want, I'll probably have to buy it on 4K from America, which is wrong. And also the Marvels. I want a copy of the Marvels because I am collecting all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. So I want that. And WandaVision's only out in the US. I think there's a Steelbook edition and a standard edition. So all of this stuff, which has a market, isn't getting a release in Australia. Yeah, Keith, it is the Donald Pleasance Dr. Crippen coming out on a deluxe Blu-ray edition. Doug says, "I haven't made the leap to 4K. Not sure my old eyes would appreciate the difference." Yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody. And Blu-ray is perfectly fine. And Blu-ray works. But I keep getting offered 4Ks for review. And about a year ago, middle-aged geek girl and I bit the bullet. She got herself a PlayStation 5. Well, I bought it for her birthday. And so she's got 4K. I've got 4K and a 4K TV in the other room. So we can watch it anytime we like. I like the 4K experience. I think it does add, and you get that HDR effect as well, where you get the high dynamic range on some of the discs. And I appreciate that. I really like what it does. And it's a new format. There's a lot of extras on a lot of 4K discs. Some of them are a bit bare bones, particularly the classic films like Casablanca and Maltese Falcon. But there's already a ton of information about those ones out there, so you're not really missing out much. Roger Morgan, hi. Physical media went out of print disc go for crazy prices. Lots of old 50s science fiction not readily available, crazy prices on Amazon and eBay. Yeah, absolutely. I know that Viavision put out a really top quality version of War of the Worlds and it sold out really fast. It was on Blu-ray and also on 4K, and it sold out crazily fast. There is an enormous market, even here in Australia, for old 50s science fiction movies in good quality and on a decent media. Clayton says, dynamic range in sound on 4K. I don't know because I'm using the sound from my 4K TV rather than a sound bar because I don't need it to bombard me. We don't have a setup where that I can isolate that from the other room in case middle-aged geek girl's watching something else in the other room. but the sound quality is fine. Garfield Smith, hi. I buy the physical media, then I own it. I can watch it whenever I want, and no worries the stream will fall off or the film will be dropped from the servers. Absolutely. With physical media, once you've got it, you've got it. And that pisses off some of the big distributors and big movie companies. But you're going to have repeat business on that. People who buy physical media don't just buy one; they buy a lot when they can, and there's not really a lost situation there. And the beauty is that all of the stuff that the big guys aren't putting out, niche companies like Umbrella and Viavision are jumping in and providing other alternative movies in the same genres that people will like and will buy. Hi, Alistair. It says you say game consoles are surprisingly decent for playing high def discs. Didn't realize for ages my Xbox could play 4K discs. Your Xbox One, yeah, and great. I'm fantastic that it can, and again that preserves both the Xbox with the physical disc on the Xbox and the PlayStation with the physical disc. There are digital versions of both platforms, but people like the ones with the discs for that reason because you can use them for multiple things. It's not just a game console, it's also a media delivery device. Garfield Smith says that Roger Morgan, yep, have been stocking up on them. Great chance to catch up in the old days. Damien says, I pick up great copies of 50s Invaders from Mars at last. Yeah, that's just come out too. Um, Keith F says, the world doesn't seem to like collectors anymore. Yes, but collectors like collectors. So to hell with the world. Taker 68 says, I stream through my plane station. Yeah, you can. And again, that's an option. Uh, it's, by the way, if you can, check out Broly, BROLLIE.com.au. That's Umbrella's streaming service. You may need to use a VPN if you're in some other countries, but they're doing a lot of really good Australian films and cult films from around the world and streaming them for free. I haven't used it a lot because I've already got most of the things they've got there, but it is a viable option. And if you use it, and I suppose it's ad revenue on there, I haven't checked, but you're supporting a company that does a lot of good work in the physical media space. FG says, I still have some movies on VHS. Don't know why I still hold on to them. Don't have a VCR anymore. My PS4 plays my DVDs and I have an external drive on my desktop. Yeah, I mean, I've got an external drive here. I've got a TV position just over here. It's only a 26, it's not a big 32-inch maybe. Um, and I can watch things here at the desk or I can go in the other room. And I've got an external hard drive hooked up to that so that I can watch things that I acquire in the comfort here, and also I can make notes while I'm watching them on the computer here. Dean Johnson says, "Is there a Godzilla branded hat I can get?" I don't know. I haven't tried it. And Damien says, "Broly is brilliant. Absolutely, there's a ton of good stuff on Broly." I've actually bought 5 hats, um, which I'm going to put through the channel at some stage. Got a little bit of a Christmas money thing. Middle-aged Google and I exchange Christmas money so we can buy the things we actually want. And one of the things I bought was 5 different hats. So I'm going to be showing those on the channel as well as part of the brand now. Doug Sim says, Broly is great. Just watch Sky Pirates. I love Sky Pirates. It's dumb fun. John D. Lamont is the Roger Corman of Australian 80s exploitation. Dean Johnson says, and where's Luna? Luna just escaped. She bashed on the back door and middle-aged geek girl let her out. This time of morning, Luna comes in and out of the house 25 times. And even if it's raining, she will go out, get wet, don't care a thing, come back and will dry her off. Jose, how you doing? You're in Arizona. I hope everything's fine there, mate. Garfield Smith said that. Dean Johnson, have a Godzilla hat with scenes from the 50s and 60s movies. Big G hats are out there. Okay, I'm going to make a note. Middle-aged geek girl won't make this note because I'll be spending money if I do. I'm going to write Godzilla hat. Gojira hat. Cool. Did anybody see the trailer for Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire? There's a new trailer for the Monarch Monsterverse Godzilla movie that's coming out. Hi, Alpha Wolf. There's a trailer for it, and it's got Godzilla, it's got Kong, it's got that subterranean world thing that they had on the last one. And I watched that a day or two after I saw Godzilla minus one. And you know how Godzilla's spines pop out and glow before Godzilla does the radioactive breath? And then Luna's bashing at the door again. They're pink in the trailer for that new Monsterverse movie. So I think what's happening is that the people who make the Monsterverse movies have decided that they're going to get a bit of that sweet Barbie money. So they've made the glowing back of Godzilla bright Barbie pink. And having seen that just after seeing Godzilla minus one, it definitely does seem like a dumbed down version of Godzilla and a dumbed down kaiju movie. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to go there for the roller coaster ride of Kong and Godzilla and all of the kaiju and stuff like that. But I was really aware of the disconnect between that stuff and the high quality human drama you get with Godzilla minus one. It's a weird that there's like two parallel Godzilla universes happening, and one of them is very much a high quality thing. The special effects in Godzilla minus one, by the way, are being nominated for an Oscar. Taker 68 says, seeing Godzilla minus one Sunday, we'll watch your video after. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. I think you will, because it is something different and something special. And as I said in my video, it's the best Godzilla movie since the 1954. Damien says, a few years ago, I copied all my VHS onto discs. Yeah, a lot of people did. I've still got a few VHS discs for more or less sentimental reasons. Sorry, VHS discs for sentimental reasons, but I haven't got anything to play them on. Roger Morgan, best bit of kit I bought were a multi-region Blu-ray player, as discs sometimes are only available in certain countries. Yeah, if you can afford it at all and you can tweak it, get a multi-region player. You're going to love it. Alpha War says, I skip trailers mostly, looking forward to the next Kong Godzilla movie as always. Yeah, I love trailers. I don't mind them. People have asked me to do a reaction to trailers, and my reaction to trailers would be just like, because I don't necessarily go over the top and go, wow, gosh, while I'm watching a new trailer for something that I'm going to like. So I'm not going to do a reaction channel at all anytime soon. Dean says, Godzilla and myself share the same birthday, October 54. Great. That makes you a kaiju baby. Enjoy, Dean. Clayton says, homemade discs are cool. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people with VHS, and I've got a few of them, VHS transfers of things that aren't available otherwise are quite a collectible in certain subterranean places like torrents. Doug says, online there are hacks to turn some brands of DVD to multi-region. Absolutely, there are. And even with my multi-region Blu-ray player, I've got to type a code into the remote control to change region. I don't mind that particularly, but it's one of those things where the makers give you a way in, but you've got to know what the way in is. Keith says, I hate trailers shown in cinemas. For me, they're way too long. Depends on the trailers. I saw a couple of things that were quite interesting when I've been watching movies lately, and I like that. There's a movie coming out by A24. You know, A24, the company that does all the horror movies. They're doing a very transgressive musical. It's A24's first musical called Dix, and I've seen the trailer for it. It's hilarious. It's mad. It's almost like upscale trauma level comedy, and I like that. Professor Strangefinger, hi. I'm in the middle of proofing bread and preparing dinner for guests, but I dropped everything to be here with you. Well, please make sure you feed your guests. But thank you very much. The black cat cap is giving me delightful shivers. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a little bit like Jill, our other cat, Jill, who's very shy. Is a black cat with just a little white on her chest. And we got cats bashing at the door again. Damien says, I've seen the trailer. I will see it since I have all the Godzillas on disc. Only one I don't have is the awful 90s American version. Godzilla Minus One, fantastic, amazing. That has an extended season. Yeah. Um, the distribution in Perth seems a lot better than the distribution here in Melbourne for Godzilla Minus One, as I said in my video about it. But I'm glad that it's getting an extended season. I know it's getting an extended season in the US as well. Professor Strangefinger, what about the new Arrow release of Existence? I need that. Yeah, I love Existence. I've already got a copy of it. And Arrow is a little bit expensive here, so I probably won't upgrade unless I get a windfall. But yeah, if you can get it, go for it. I mean, it is a beautifully strange movie. Dean Johnson says, what a pleasant surprise. I was looking for Science Fiction Saturday and found your live chat. Yeah, thank you. I was going to do some lesser movies, but then I realized I hadn't done a live chat. So I'm saving the research I did on other movies. And I'll tell you what one of them is. I'm doing The Green Slime as a Science Fiction Saturday next week. So I'm saving that, and I thought of live stream, and I was feeling in the mood to have a chat anyway. Damien says some trailers show too much of the film. Yeah, I mean, I think that's an art. There are lots of platforms now that are doing the trailers right, but if the best of the movie's in the trailer, it's not a good film. Or something completely different as the audience seen Mad Heidi. Yeah, I did a video about Mad Heidi because Umbrella released it on disc. Mad Heidi is crazy fun. It's again, it's upscale trauma. Professor Strangefinger says about the Existence, there's $50 per pack with features. I adore that film. Yeah. Alpha Wolf says, I love the green slime. Yep, happy holidays. Green Slime is a classic. Great 60s song in the Green Slime. Yeah, it was written by Charles Fox, who was the guy who wrote all of the songs for Barbarella. For Mike Kirby did all the lyrics for that. Um, FG says, I love the Green Slime when I was a kid, so look forward to that. I'll put it out next week. And there's an interesting character bit in there too, where one of the actors is doing really good acting, and the rest of them are just cashing checks. I'll talk about that when I do the video. But you want to rewatch the movie after I tell you that because I love it. I love the fact that there are some actors who, when they're in a piece of shit movie like Green Slime, which it is essentially, will go and do A grade acting because they're professionals, they're getting paid, and their work ethic won't let them do less. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that, and I enjoyed it. So I'm not going to talk anymore. Stephen McDermott, thank you very much for the $10 bump. I appreciate that, mate. If you've got any good questions, Stephen, I'm very happy to answer them. Garfield Smith says Green Slime is on Blu-ray. And Dean says Green Slime is totally artery clogging cheesy. It is. It's a tokusatsu movie with an English-speaking cast, which makes it a little bit on weird. Professor Strangefinger says, plus, please recognize everybody, please applaud one of the most beautiful beards on the internet. Terry, that beard is lustrous and well defined. You don't see that often. Yeah, I do try to keep it trimmed a bit. And when I get my hair cut, I get the guy down at the barber shop in our toner to give it a little bit of a zhuzh up. And also, it's a comfort thing just to stroke my beard. When I didn't have a beard, I actually got traumatized. I shaved it off about a year ago, and it's on the channel. And I really didn't like how I looked, and it depressed me. So I'm growing the beard partly for comfort and also partly because scraping a blade across your face every day seems a stupid thing to do. Professor Strange Finger said it could use some trimming. Yeah, it needs a tiny bit of playing up. Kay answers, Peter Cushing was always good in when the film wasn't. Yeah, there are actors who bring their A game to everything they do, and I love them a bit more for that. I just respect it. The uh, it looks soft and makes me. Thank you, Professor Strangefinger. Yeah, the beauty is soft. But the other bit of acting I really appreciated lately is the third season of Slow Horses has come out with Gary Oldman playing Jackson Lamb. It's a spy thing set in London. It's on Apple. And Gary Oldman playing this kind of sleazy, disreputable spy master who insults everybody and knows everything is just marvelous. It's a fantastic piece of acting. And even if you're not into spy shows, you just watch it to appreciate Gary Oldman doing fantastic work in Slow Horses. There are two seasons out already. The third one's 3 episodes in, and the character arcs and the plot and the action are all totally on point. Keith says, Terry, recently on the news in the UK, there was a story about singer Alfie Boe, who has a recording where the tune is a Christmas carol and the lyrics sung to explain why Die Hard is a Christmas film. Can you post a link, Keith, or send me a link? Because that'd be interesting. Dean says, Terry saw the Russian film Sputnik, which was, I think, above average monster fic. Is there anything else you can recommend? Let me have a look. I'm going to go into my letterbox and see what I can recommend that I haven't already recommended from this year's movie watching. Q the Winged Serpent. I watched that this year, which was fantastic. It's always great. Let's see monster movies. Carnifex, the Australian movie Carnifex, which I'm pretty sure is on Broly, is a nice small budget monster flick. Let's see. Went through a whole time when I didn't watch any monster flicks. Oh, sorry, this is boring for everybody, but we'll get there. If you want good monsters, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves has some pretty good monsters in it. Yeah, Clayton says, I hate shaving, quit decades ago. Good on you. Let's see. So, yeah, there's lots of things out there. Just go back through the channel, you'll find recommendations. Professor Strangefinger says, do I get the Fargo TV series where we are? The new season has been grinding my teeth with the suspense. It's great. No, I haven't done that. Problem is, if I go down through too many TV series rabbit holes, I don't have time to make videos and watch movies. The struggle is real. Let's see. Keith S. says, okay, and Peter Cushing was a fantastic actor. Yes, he was. Alpha Wolf, which is the actor that immediately brings the production down as soon as they appear, no matter how hard they try otherwise. Jared Leto. Jared Leto is fascinating in that he gets into prestige movies, and the choices he makes as an actor playing a role are inevitably car crashes. He gets more love than he should in cinema. And if you watch him carefully from an acting viewpoint, the choices he makes to play characters are inevitably shitstorms. And is the upcoming film ISS worth a look? I haven't seen a trailer for ISS. Could you make a note of ISS for me, Middle Aged Geek Girl? I'll check that trailer out. Doug says, heading to Melbourne in January. Is that excellent store Minotaur still there? Any recommendations for places to buy DVDs or movie memorabilia? I believe Minotaur is still there. Let me double check. I will find out for you. It is online, but yeah, it looks like yeah, it is there. It is still there. Minotaur is still there. The other place to look at if you're in Melbourne, Doug, up the top, just off Burke Street, is a store called Play, which has tons and tons of DVDs and Blu-rays. You do pay a premium because it is a physical bricks and mortar store, but they will have everything, and you'll enjoy it. And you can talk to the guys there about movies. Professor Strangefinger, I want to get completely electrolyzed or whatever it means to get hair removal. No, not for me. I enjoy having a beard, and at times of the year, it's very useful. Cheers. Too many stuff on TV and online, says Damon. Yeah, the shirt it's an optical illusion shirt. I'm not going to stand up to show it to you because it'll show my guts. But I picked it up on Temu. It's colourful and it's just a long sleeve T-shirt. It is still fairly warm here and quite humid. But I thought I'd put something a bit colourful on the screen here. I'll call him Charles Letters. Yeah, Jared Leto is bad. So yeah, it's a long sleeve T-shirt. Summer down here, yeah, it is. It is. Yesterday was crazy hot. It was like 37 degrees or so. Really humid, really windy. In fact, a tree down the road had to get cut down in the middle of the storm so it wouldn't cut down power lines. And so the electricity people were up there in the middle of the storm on a cherry picker trimming this tree off. Professor Strangefinger, I'm watching Gremlins tonight. Yeah, Gremlins Christmas movie. We'll have to get out Gremlins. I haven't watched it in years. I want to reevaluate it. Maybe I can do that for the channel. Still a bushfire problem in various parts of Australia. Absolutely, we got a lot of rain unseasonably in the springtime, which means all the grass and the undergrowth grows, which ups the bushfire risk in the summertime. And so everybody's really aware of that and doing what they can. And they're doing what they call cultural burning, which is Indigenous Australians have been here for 60,000 years. And one of the ways they looked after the land was they strategically burnt the undergrowth in various places in certain ways to minimize the possibility of raging bushfires. And so people are now learning from First Nations people how to handle the landscape and control that undergrowth in a way that's going to sustain it, but is also not going to allow it to be a fuel for an enormous bushfire. So culturally appropriate burning is a big industry here now, where people are doing that and learning how to care for the land better than we did before. Professor Strangefinger, I'm so envious of that cap. If you want to get a cap like this, Strangefinger, Temu.com has them quite cheaply. I get most of my hats from Temu, and they've got a ton of cool hats. Terry Talks Beards new channel. I don't have the resources or the time for a new channel, but I appreciate the thought. Roger Morgan, favorite movie I just watched again is Halloween. In Halloween, 1957's Night of the Demon. Excellent cast, excellent if controversial early showing of the Demon. Yeah, I did a video about Night of the Demon where I said that Carswell is one of the best movie villains in history. Keith F. Alfie Bo. It's called Ode to Die Hard, and it seems to be on Disney Plus. Cool. Thanks for that one, Keith. Doug Sims, practically every Shane Black movie is a Christmas movie. Yeah. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is one of my favorites with Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer. That one you should watch if you haven't. It's such fun, smart, sharp, good action scenes, and great characters. There's nothing not to love in that movie. Yep, I will. You'll be right back, Professor Strange. Good. How many out there think Die Hard is a Christmas movie, says Dean? Of course it is. I actually did a video a long way back. If you type in Die Hard searching on the channel, I did a video about how I won $500 watching Die Hard back in about 1989, 1990 when it first came out. So there's a story there. Teacher Dude, hi. I love the dialogue in Kiss Kiss. Yeah, Shane Black's dialogue is always sharp and always totally groovy. Taker 68 says, great story. Yeah. Keith F., I love Night of the Demon. Great, great British horror film. It is. And Jacques Tourneur directed it. So there's nothing not to love in that. Die Hard 2 is also a Christmas movie. True. Christmas movies are great. I mean, that's the thing. Christmas is a time for family. So there's an implicit threat in a Christmas movie that is going to impact families. Gremlins being the big example there. And I like that. The weird thing about Gremlins is if you look right at the end, the boy and the girl survive and everything goes back to status quo, except for the fact that everybody else in their town died. So they're doing the cuddly bit at the end. And in the back of my mind is, yeah, but everybody in your bloody town is dead now. You're living in the middle of a total disaster area and you've got that cute ending. It's a weird cognitive dissonance for me. Doug says, love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Not the Nice Guys is underrated. Yeah, absolutely. Middle-aged geek girl and I quote the Nice Guys to each other. And it's just wonderful stuff. I've actually got the novelization of the Nice Guys. It's one of the most modern movie novelizations that I've got. Clayton, the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang commentary track, I will check that out. Dean says, do I think the ending of Godzilla -1 was predictable? If you're talking about the happy ending part, I didn't predict it, but the movie gave me such goodwill that I think it earned a happy ending, and I'm okay with that. Normally, a happy ending, if it's not earned, is a kind of scratching the needle across the record kind of thing for me. But I think this one earned it, and it's not an unambiguous happy ending. There's a dark side to that happy ending. If you look up Godzilla disease syndrome, there's not an entirely happy ending there. Alpha War says, I love Gremlins 2 much better. Gremlins 2 has Donald Trump in it. I mean, no. I'm not going to say the ending taker, 68. Is Trading Places a Christmas movie? Bit of a stretch. It's a nice scathing condemnation of capitalism, and I love it for that. Though that period of Eddie Murphy's career is one that I'm not entirely fond of. But I'm going to start now and do a haul. I don't have an enormous haul because I've been a good boy and haven't bought a lot of things. And anything I get given gets a special review video on the channel. But there are a few good things. I'll start out with the books. Now, David Stratton is a god in movie reviewing circles here in Australia. He's done a number of great reference books on Australian film. But this one I found in a second-hand shop. It's called 101 Marvelous Movies You May Have Missed. No love of golf. And the thing is, it's a whole bunch of lesser films for the last 50 years that people may have missed because they didn't get a lot of love and a lot of distribution. Now, I've already watched a couple of movies in this particular book, and it's great. I mean, things like Mad City and Love's Labour's Lost, which is a version of Shakespeare, of course. What else is there? Impulse, Housekeeping, Ginger and Fred, The Crossing Guard, Buffalo Soldiers, Beyond the Sea, Beyond Rangoon, Bad Influence, Bad Blood. I love these. And this one is, I'm going to dive into it more in the new year and just watch some movies I haven't seen before. And I picked it up for $1 or so. Yeah, Damien, it is a great book. Yeah, Benthead, David Stratton and Margaret Pomerantz did movie reviews as a duo for a long time on ABC and SBS, two of our government stations. And so many people watched their reviews and respected them, even when they were wrong, even when they disagreed with them. They were just fun to watch. But yeah, Professor Strangefinger, Gremlins 2 is Gonzo, and I adored it. So many cool cameos and fantastic creatures. Yeah, physical puppetry and things like that, and physical special effects. I've got friends here in Australia who worked on it, and who worked on things like The Matrix, and they really miss doing that kind of work. And people only ever did it as a passion as well as a job. The other book I got, which is a kind of tangential thing to movies, what did I get this for? $3. Now, this guy is one of the great acting teachers. Any number of people were his students. And because I want to know more about the process of acting, because it helps me review things. Stanford Meisner on acting, and I've been dipping into that. Introduction by Sidney Pollock. And it's basically about how to become an actor and what you need and how you go about it. And I thought I'd dive into that because, like I said, I want to know about actors. I want to know about what they go through to be actors. And I'm already learning things from it. I'm never going to be an actor. It's not my gig. I'm staying in my lane. If I've got an IMDb page, it'd be nice, but not going to happen. And so Stanford Meisner on acting. Apparently, this is one of the Bibles of acting. And I've got that, and I really want to know more about what actors do and how they do it. And this is what I'm going to do. Man from Planet X, hi. Dean, hey, Doug, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians can only review if you're not in your right mind. Should I review that for this year? Santa Claus Conquers the Martians? I could do that. Have I seen Society, Professor Strange Figure? I feel that people don't appreciate that crazy movie as much as I do. Oddly enough, if you go to the Projection Booth podcast, I did a podcast about Society along with one of the guys from Red Letter Media for Mike White and his channel. And that was a lot of fun to do. I'll just get the guy's name. I've just forgotten. Which one was it? It was Jay from Red Letter Media that I did a podcast about Society. Man from Planet X, just this island Earth that came from outer space double feature. Good movies, they are. Yep, Teacher Do, great acting truly is alchemy. Absolutely. And Damien, yeah, it is a hard gig. Doug says, I've just gone down the rabbit hole watching bad Christmas movies on streaming. Usually same plot of driven Korean woman goes back to hometown, discovers love and Christmas spirit. Yeah, Jay's a nice guy, Professor Strangefinger. Will there be another live chat coming soon? I'm going to do another live stream on New Year's Eve from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. I've decided, unless I get invited to a party. Christmas Carol best version. Roger Morgan, I like the 50s version and the abbreviated 1971 animated version by Richard Williams. Very spooky. I kind of like the one with Alastair Sim. I think he's got the best Scrooge. A lot of people like the Muppet one, and I respect that. But I think it's the 1948 version with Alastair Sim. I think he's having such fun doing that would be my go-to. Clayton says, small theatre is a great way to realise that some of us don't belong on stage. Yeah, I mean, I think unless you've got a passion for it. And it's not whether you belong on stage or not, it's whether you've got a passion to learn and you're willing to put in the hard yards and learn. Talent, I think, is just dedication and doing. Garfield Smith, most popular non-Christmas movie at the time of year is The Great Escape for some unknown reason. I think it was shown a lot during the Christmas holidays on TV. Movies like The Great Escape and The Guns of Navarone. All of those movies used to get a lot of. Dean, take care. And thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Professor Strangefinger, is it worth an almost day-long flight to see Australia? Of course it is. It's such a diverse place. It's great. The exchange rates for most other places are fantastic. The food's good, the wine's good, the beer's good, the coffee is superb. There's no reason not to, unless you can't afford it. Alpha Wolf says, I like the George C. Scott version and the Patrick Stewart version of A Christmas Carol. I won't watch a good George C. Scott movie. He beat women up when he was drunk. And for me, that's a red flag. I won't watch any of his movies. Alistair Sim, best Scrooge or Bill Murray Scrooge? Now, Scrooge is okay, but I still like the Alistair Sim one. There's a joyousness to his acting, particularly when he turns good. And his Scrooge is quite nasty when he's nasty. So that stuff is Yeah, I may rewatch that one, I think, because I've watched it 2 or 3 times, and it's been fantastic all of those times. Let's go on with the haul. This is odd because it's actually released by Roadshow. It is Blu-ray, but it's in the size format of DVD. The Millennium Trilogy, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Girl Who Played with Fire, Girl Who Kicked Over the Hornet's Nest, all on discs, and it's in this beautiful prestige edition, which is almost in the form of a book. The discs are in there, and it's an odd format, but I had these on Blu-ray already, but I wanted the bonus disc, which is a documentary about the trilogy. This was originally made for Swedish television, I think. And that's a recommend from me. Sorry about the cough. And the weird thing is, the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the original title for the book translates as The Men Who Hate Women. Men Who Hate Women. And that's pretty amazing. This is the one with Numi Rapace in it. Really recommend it from me. Take 68. Never seen those. Never saw the US version of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I think going back to this version is the way to go. David Fincher did the American version, the one with Daniel Craig and Rooney Mara. But the original version is harder. It's tougher. It's grittier. It's more confronting. And I recommend them for that reason. They are really great. It's got a J card on it. Let's see, take the J card off for a sec. And it's got that kind of nice dragony aspect to the box. Keith F. Another news story from the UK. A Christmas card from Australia to the UK has finally been delivered 40 years after it was posted. Your Australian Postal Service is pants. How do you know it wasn't at the other end, Keith? How do you know it wasn't the English Postal Service? KN says, not to belittle acting, it's strange the way people idolize actors. The lines are written for them, they're told how to do and say them. Makes it they are the least interesting part of filmmaking. I kind of disagree. A good actor will bring things from the page that enhance the writing, that enhance the direction, that enhance the blocking and the lighting and the cinematography. Good actors are the magicians. They don't make the potions, they don't make the magic wands, they don't make the spells, but they're the ones who cast them. And I've got a lot of respect for actors. I know a couple of actors, and they work hard, and they are incredibly perceptive people. I've got nothing but love and respect for actors. But yeah, so I'm going to move on. This is a recommend for me. Kirk Douglas, The Modern Western, Lonely as the Brave, which I picked up really cheaply on Blu-ray from JB Hi-Fi. Gina Rollins, hi Zammy Adams, Walter Matthau, Kirk Douglas, about a guy who can't adapt to modern society. This one you should check out. It's in black and white from the 1960s. Really superb film and doesn't get enough love. Screenplays by Dalton Trumbo. Let's see. Writers write the lines, but actors deliver the lines. It's how they do it that makes them great actors, Garfield Smith. Yeah, I agree. And Doug, I agree with Terry. A good actor connects emotionally. Yeah, Damien. No, Lonely as a Brave is a great film. But yeah, actors, I love, and the reason I love them. Excuse me, I've just got this nose unclogging thing. Teacher Dude, I remember stumbling across the original TV version of Heat, which is the same dialogue as the similar version. In contrast, couldn't be starker. I'm not sure I've seen the original TV version of it. Is it better or worse than the movie version? But yeah, there are. That's something that's happened for a long time. There was a TV version of there was a TV version of Requiem for a Heavyweight, and then there was a movie version with Anthony Quinn, and they're both really good to watch. Yeah, Roger and Morgan. Lonely is the Brave is a great movie, but don't like the ending. I think the ending's supposed to punch you in the face. Professor Strangefinger, we have raccoons in the neighborhood. What kind of animals do you have in the backyard? We have possums. We are getting a lot of possums because they're putting in a lot over the last 20 years. We're putting in a lot more trees. Where I live started out as one of those suburban things where they flattened all the land to build the houses. In the last 20 years, there have been a lot more trees, so the possums are coming back. And they drive the cats mad. The cats don't attack them because you don't want to attack a possum. But all of the fences in our neighborhood are highways for possums. And the possums go up to the trees. We've got a native tree at the side of our house, a lily pilly, which is natural food for possums. And the possums turn up. They're not big ones, but I like the fact that there's still native ecologies going in our neighborhood. Clayton says, I've got raccoons in my house now. At night, they have a good time. They don't pay rent, however. Teacher Do, the TV version is awful, but shows what a huge difference great acting makes. Good idea. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Good acting lifts anything. And even good acting in a bad movie is a delight. But yeah, the other one I got, and this one is one of Clayton says, foxes, possums, deer, and a huge wildcat chase the raccoons. Wild here in Texas. Yeah, we got foxes. Australia got foxes because some dickhead about 40 kilometres south of here in the 1800s wanted to hunt foxes, so he imported them. And now they're a bloody menace. We see them as roadkill all the time. Yeah, Dame Edna. Yeah, it wasn't opossums here. It's just possums. But yeah, I've seen Barry Humphries on stage. He had some horrible opinions. I'll be honest with you, but on stage he was fantastic, as Dame Edna and as these other characters. Really great. Darren Bennett says blue tongue lizards hisses at the cat and then comes in and eats a cat food. Yeah, I used to have blue tongue lizards when I lived in Sydney in various places, and also frill neck lizards and other things. Yeah, possums are very agile and eat bugs. Yeah, our possums are okay. I don't mind them being around. They're native. I'm not going to kind of diss them. The cats and them hiss at each other, but there's not really any warfare between them. Professor Strangefinger says, I've been fortunate to be part of a Dame Edna show. Sorely missed Comic Genius. Yes, he was. This is one you should get. Now, it only came out on DVD here in Australia. Sisu, about a man who finds a lot of gold in prospecting near the end of World War II, and the Nazis find out that he's got it. It's in Sweden. Oh no, it's not. It's in Finland. And what they don't know is that this guy is a stone killer. This is a crazily good action film. It is totally mad. And if you haven't seen it, check out the trailer and you're going to want to see it. That is something truly special. I love it because it's totally balls to the wall action. Any guy who throws a landmine like a frisbee at a Nazi, I'm going to watch that movie. Have they aren't venomous foxes? No, they're just normal foxes. Professor Strangefinger said, we have mosquitoes and they literally suck. I should do a rim shot there. Garfield Smith says, Sisu is an awesome film. Alpha War says, just saw Sisu a week ago and loved him. Yeah, it really is great. It's wonderful. And there are some action scenes that are beyond anything you're going to see in other movies, particularly the one where he kills a Nazi underwater. That is hardcore. That cover artwork, yeah, it's great. That works well, even though it's a comp shot and photoshopped. I think it's really good use of the medium. So I got that. Professor Strangefinger says favorite comedies. Um, Blazing Saddles for a start. Mel Brooks comedies I love. Some Like It Hot, of course, that's fantastic. There are some good Australian comedies like Death in Brunswick, which you should check out. Just too many good comedies out there. Maybe you should do a top 10 comedy list. Do people want to see a top 10 comedy list? Of course, as soon as you do a top 10 comedy list, you think of 15 other comedies you'll want to watch. Clayton says Young Frankenstein. Going to write down top 10 comedies. Yep, Taker 68 wants to see a list. But yes, so many. Enough Wolf says. Professor Strangefinger says, I like old Hollywood stuff like Bringing Up Baby and a lot. I love Cary Grant and Jimmy Stewart. Yeah, there are immense amounts of good comedies. And then there are things like Hell's a Poppin', which is anarchy. And Roger Morgan says, The Odd Couple. Yeah. Neil Simon, fantastic for comedy. Let's see, these ones I don't know anything about. I'm going to do some more. My Girlfriend is a Gummyo, which is a Korean series where the guy's girlfriend is actually a nine-tailed fox. Which I picked this up for $1 and also picked this one up. I don't know anything about it, but picked up a couple of Korean comedy series. Garfield Smith says The Party with Peter Sellers. Nah, not for me. That fake Indian thing doesn't play for me. It's Mickey Rooney and Breakfast at Tiffany's level for me. Eric Tupper says Arsenic and Old Lace. Absolutely. Fantastic. Young Frankenstein and Harvey. Do I think comedies are faded as movies or no? There are things coming out like Bottoms. I've seen the trailer for Bottoms and I've got a copy of it, but I haven't watched it yet. Transgressive, crazy comedies are still out there. They're just not jokes at the expense of women or minorities. They're self-referential jokes. Roger Morgan says, The Apartment, watched it for the first time this year. So did I. The Apartment is so good. Part of it plays like a comedy, but then it takes some twists. Billy Wilder was a genius. No questions about it. Yeah, Harvey's brilliant. Jack Lemmon movie. Yeah, that one. Yeah, Clayton. The Apartment. There's also the one with Vanessa Cassell and Monica Bellucci, which I also recommend, but is nothing like a comedy. But yeah, I think comedies are going to continue. I think there are great comedy writers out there, and they're still making good comedies, but they're not like comedies were in the past. Culture changes, and so comedy changes, but it doesn't mean comedy's going away. I mean, I want to see that musical that A24 are doing, Dix, because it's a comedy and the trailer is good. Professor Strange said, I had to stop watching Walkabout. Couldn't take the brutality towards kangaroos. Yeah. And I think the brutality, unfortunately, was the point, showing the kind of masculine, ugly culture that was a part of that. Now, having said that, kangaroo is in our supermarkets because there are overpopulations of kangaroos. So people are turning them into meat, and they're great meat. It's very lean, very slightly gamey, but really good. And so kangaroo is fantastic. Yeah, Waking Fright. Yeah, Waking Fright's got some kangaroo scenes as well. But again, it's part of indigenous culture to eat all sorts of things, including kangaroo. Particularly kangaroo tail. There's a lot of good meat in a kangaroo tail. Teacher Juice says, agreed cultures have changed, but comedy has migrated to TV. I mean, those three camera comedies on TV are a certain thing, but because of the gatekeepers you have on TV. They can't get as transgressive as they do in cinema. And I'm a big fan of transgressive comedies. Professor Strange says, "What kind of music is my favorite?" I mean, I like jazz. I like musicals. I like French chanson. I like French yeah music. I like Italian pop songs of the 1960s. I like English pop music of the 60s and 70s. Like American pop music of the 60s and 70s. I like a bit of classical music as well. I'm very broad in my musical taste. By the way, that means my patrons, I owe them a Spotify playlist for December. I've got to get onto that today as well. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, a bit too much like a stuffed turkey. I like, I like the National Lampoon movies, even though Chevy Chase is an asshole. No, Skippy doesn't taste like chicken. Skippy tastes more like venison. Groundhog Day, yeah, Groundhog Day. Once you get the joke, there's a musical of Groundhog Day coming out in Australia, and my first thought was, why bother? We know the story. Mingus, yeah, absolutely Mingus. Ella Fitzgerald, Dinah Washington, Lady Day. Fantastic music, fantastic singers in jazz. Johnny Hartman, just so many good singers. Let's do a bit of this is something I'm going to recommend everybody. It's only released in America, and I got some Amazon Associate money, which I bought this with. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a great Christmas movie. Didn't grab me for some reason. But anyway, this is a series which I recommend you get on disc. Poker Face with Natasha Lyonne playing a woman who can tell when anyone's lying. This is an updated version of Columbo, in a sense, where you know who the murderer is right up front. And Charlie, the character played by Natasha Lyonne, comes in, stumbles into the situation, and figures out who the murderer is. This is fantastic. You should check this one out. This is season 1. There probably will be a season 2, but the strike hampered that. There are how many episodes? 3, 7, 10 episodes. You should check out Poker Face. Yep, Eric Tupper. It is an awesome show. Chet Baker. Yeah, absolutely. So many good jazz singers. But Poker Face you should check out. And the thing is, it's got fantastic actors in it. Hong Chau's in there, Adrian Brody, Tim Meadows, Chloe Sevigny, Nick Nolte, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ron Perlman, Tim Blake Nelson, Benjamin Bratt. Just so many good actors coming in doing one thing and then going away. That is totally worth it. I love it, and I unashamedly love it. No, Clayton, it isn't cancelled. Poker Face is probably going to do a season 2 at some stage, but it's all to do with the writing. As soon as the writing's done, it's supposed to be a remake of Trains, Planes, and Automobiles with Kevin Hart and Will Smith. Why bother? Why remake a comedy? Just do another comedy. I think, okay, yeah, because of Smith. But yeah, I mean, most remakes are cash cows. There are remakes that do it better, Maltese Falcon being the obvious example. But most remakes are there because, yeah, we can make it cheaply, we can get this and we can update it, and we can make a lot of money without too much effort because all the hard work's already been done decades ago. Not a big fan of remakes. Yeah, The Fly remake, absolutely, that's another example where it took it into another genre, and they got Cronenberg to do it, and Cronenberg was going to take it in a different direction than the 1959 version. But yeah, I mean, as a rule, I'm not a fan of remakes because I can see the dollar signs in the eyeballs of the people making the movie. Let's see. What else did I get? I did a bit at the Indicator sale because I love Indicator and I love their sales. We've got all 3 of them there. And something fell over. Yeah, here they are. Yeah, absolutely. Some remakes are a waste of space. Enjoyed the remake of The Out of Towners. Goldie Hawn and Steve Martin were funny. The original version is better. But anyway, I've got three things at the indicator sale. Ministry of Fear with Ray Milland, which is fantastic. Directed by, fucking microphone. Let me just get this going right. That's it. And I'll lock it in. Ray Milland, yeah. Ministry of Fear. This is totally worth it. Fritz Lang, beautiful kind of picaresque action film with a guy who was in a mental health, and it's doing it again. Just stop acting up. But yeah, that one you should check out. Got that. I had a 3 for £20 deal. And then I got I'm Monster, which I've already talked about on the channel. A version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with Cushing and Lee. Totally worth it. Does wonderful. Some people are going to get some ads on the channel, so just bear with it. It pays the rent. And this Norman J. Warren film I know nothing about, but I had to get a third movie, and all the other ones already had. Satan's Slave, which is a little bit naughty and transgressive, but Satan's Slave is worth it, I think, because I'm going to take a chance when I get Blu-rays 3 for £20, which is about $40 Australian. I'm going to take a punt on things. Yep, so the ads are probably going. Are you getting ads, middle-aged geek girl? If you're not, let me know. Remakes allow filmmakers to bring back great movie ideas. Yeah, but find another idea. I mean, there are also ways of doing that where you can adapt a good idea without doing a remake. I think remakes mostly, and with exceptions, are lazy. Damien says, my order from Indicated coming through this morning has Ministry of Fear, Pumpkin Eater, and The Big Heat. I've already got The Big Heat, but Pumpkin Eater, that's the one with Patricia Neal in it, is it? Yeah, worth it. These ones I got for $1 each. How many films are just rip-offs of others? Says Taker 68. I think there are levels. Sometimes you get movies that are influenced by other movies. That's totally legit. I mean, even Godzilla -1 is influenced by Ozu and and of course previous kaiju movies. So rip-offs are different. I'll be a Peter Finch, David. Thank you on Pumpkin Eater. But yeah, I think there are levels, and knowing what the history of the genre you're working in is, and the history of the medium you're working in is something that's essential for filmmakers. And of course, new filmmakers are always going to be influenced by others. So the line we're ripping off is a thin one. But if you stay on the right side of it, I think it's legit. These ones I picked up for $1, as I said. Jailhouse Rock, Elvis Presley. Gotta like that. A lot of fun. Not a big fan of Elvis as an actor. I think he was okay in King Creole and a couple of other things. But Jailhouse Rock is kind of where it. And then Roger Morgan says, just had my 3D TV repaired. Am I a fan of 3D? Just watch 3D disc. It came from outer space and Dial M for Murder. I don't mind 3D. I don't think it's necessary. But if I get an opportunity to watch a movie in 3D, I will. I respect it as a gimmick, and I've had some fun experiences with 3D movies. But for me, the movie itself is the message that I want. The other one I got this was actually called in Australia originally, and I've seen the ads for it. It's called Love in Las Vegas because people didn't know what Viva meant. Viva Las Vegas. Got the Blu-ray of that for $1. And Margaret always lifted Elvis movies. And then Margaret in the 60s was crazily hot. So I got those two. And when I got the middle-aged geek girl says, my mother doesn't have a Blu-ray player because her mother's a crazy Elvis fan. But I got them for me. I may well do them as a double feature at some stage on the channel. because that's a path in cinema I haven't gone down. So, yeah, 2 Elvis movies for $1 each on Blu-ray. It was a good day. Christian McGangan says, I like Stay Away Joe. I haven't seen that since the 70s. But if you say so, I'm happy to add it to the pantheon of acceptable Elvis movies. This one is a movie which got a lot of sequels which lost the thematic thread of the original. First Blood, I got it on DVD. I saw this in the cinemas in the middle of New South Wales in a country town called Dubbo, where I was living with a mate for about 8 months. And we were bored shitless, so we go to the movies a lot. And we saw First Blood. And we walked out of First Blood and we saw a police car. And we looked at each other and said, let's blow it up because of the action and that. But yeah, I mean, Rambo is a character that got retconned to hell by Stallone. Originally, he was a damaged PTSD war veteran. And then they turned him into an instrument of American foreign policy, which is the opposite of what the original character in David Morrell's novels was. But I watched the first one. I've watched all the others at various stages. But First Blood is the one I think that is honest. Directed by Ted Kotcheff, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, directed by the same guy who directed Wake in Fright. And First Blood, totally worth it. Brian Dennehy's good in it. Stallone's good in it. Great setting as well in the Pacific Northwest. But all of the other Rambo movies I've got less love for. Professor Strangefinger says, my mum was a huge Elvis fan. I've never seen an Elvis movie, but I probably should. I just feel tragedy when I think of him. Yeah, I can understand that. Ian Morrell says, I just saw Sly in Death Race 2000 last night. It's always a good time to watch Death Race 2000. Backwater drama, love Deliverance. Yeah, Deliverance is confronting and solid and nuanced as well. It's not just an unabashed action film. Clayton says, Wake in Fright, I like. Yeah, Wake in Fright, I've been to the locations, Silverton and Broken Hill. And Wake in Fright, it was on my mind while I was in those places. Damien says, my mum was an Elvis fan as a family saw all the Elvis movies. So many of double features in New Zealand, Saturday afternoons at the cinema. So Elvis followed by Hong Kong Kung Fu film. Yeah, I got that too. Saturday matinees. We'd get Elvis movies as well. And I wasn't a big fan of Elvis movies. There are so many bad ones. So we'd go there and we'd get stuck there because my father was drinking in the pub. So we'd go to the cinema. And I was always disappointed when there was an Elvis movie instead of a Western. Though some Elvis movies are Westerns. Teacher June says, the original Rambo is closer to Deer Hunter than Red Dawn. Absolutely. And that's the whole bloody point. First Blood was great, but I can't get on board with the sequels. I agree, Doug. Totally. Professor Strangefinger, I love Sylvester Stallone in Copland. Yeah, he was good in that. Darren Bennett, $50. Merry Christmas from another old lefty atheist and his cat. Darren, have a fantastic holiday. And thank you so much, mate. I truly appreciate that. And all the best for the season. And for 2024, going to be a good year for movies. You're going to have a great time. Debbie Cooper, cheers from the Northwest US. I like the Northwest US. I love Oregon. I love Washington State. Nice part of the world. FG says, I like Stallone in Nighthawks. Yeah, because he actually acted. He didn't just do, there are good Stallone movies and good Stallone roles. I hear good things about Tulsa King, but I haven't watched it. I can't get over the hairline of his rug. But life intervenes, catching New Year. Thank you, Darren. Enjoy your day, and thanks again, mate. I appreciate that bump. Clayton, great story of a lost film. Wake in Fright, found in Pittsburgh after missing for years. Had a label on it, read, to be destroyed, saved from the abyss. Yep. Wake in Fright's an important cultural film for Australia. Yes, it was made by a Canadian director. but it speaks to the colonizer toxicity of Australia at the time. It was very confronting, and it has some of our best actors doing fantastic work as well. Um, Doctor Strangefinger, what I think of the new Dune, and am I looking forward to the next one? Yes, I am. I like Denis Villeneuve as a director. I think that I like Lynch's Dune. I'm not trying to take anything away from David Lynch's Dune. It's mad and it's fun. But I think this one does it right. I think Timothy Chalamet cops a lot of shit as an actor, which I don't think's deserved, just because he looks like a twink. I saw him having an interview with Scorsese where they were talking about movies and talking about their passion for movies. He's a smart young man. He knows cinema. And he and Scorsese were having a great time playing off each other. 20-something-year-old guy and an 80-something-year-old guy bonding over their love of cinema. So I like him as Paul Atreides. I like the casting in Denis Villeneuve's Dune. And the cinematography and the world building is just off the charts. I'm looking forward to the second one. I've got the first one on 4K. I'm going to get the second one on 4K. I think Denis Villeneuve is one of the great science fiction filmmakers of our era. And I want to see what he does next. Yep, Clayton, another Donald Pleasance showcase, Waking Fright. Donald Pleasance in that is wonderfully menacing and wonderfully transgressive. And he went there with that, and all respect to him for that. Yeah, David Lynch's Dune. Yeah, Sting's acting did drag it down. But there are enough gonzo, weird, mad things in there, and enough good actors to balance that out. Teacher Judy says, I think Dune is great, and as much as I love the 80s version, the new one really captures the feeling of the book much better. Yeah, it does. For a moment, I met Frank Herbert, who wrote Dune. I was at a convention in Melbourne, a science fiction convention, and a friend of mine introduced me to Frank Herbert, and I shook hands and said, I love your work. Thank you very much for doing it. Very shy and very polite guy. And that I remember that, and I think fondly of all of his work when I remember that. Wonka looks interesting. Wonka's by the same guy who did the Paddington movies. So I'm on board because Paddington 2 is one of the great feel-good movies of this century. If you haven't seen Paddington and Paddington 2, sit down, grab a chocolate, grab a beer, and watch the Paddington movies. You're going to love them, and they're going to take you back to being a child. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Wonka. Maybe I'll take middle-aged geek girl if she wants to go, and we might go to Titan Lux and see it there. Yep, Professor Strange. Paddington is wonderful. Paddington 2 is even better, where you've got things like yeah, you've got Hugh Grant being wonderful in that, and it's just and Knuckles McGinty. It's just wonderful. Hi, Cinema Dave. How you doing, mate? Did you guys finish your live stream already? People should check out Dave's channel. If you want to click on Cinema Dave Media, Dave does a wonderful channel about movies, and he has an awesome and um, enviable Criterion collection in his shelves. Yes, Sly and Sweet, absolutely. Paddington is so underrated and just life affirmingly joyous. And we watched it and we loved it. Dave does have an excellent channel, absolutely. So people should give him a bump. Heather, your wife, Damien, laughed out loud in the cinema when you watched Paddington. Absolutely. Paddington is great. And having a Paddington 2, at the end of it, Hugh Grant singing a really obscure Stephen Sondheim song was chef's kiss marvelous. So I'm going to go into Wonka. I'm going to enjoy it. And there are some movies that are just such fun. You can't be critical of them. You just go for the ride and just let it wash over you. Yep, Hugh Grant is an Oompa Loompa. My jumper made you look for your 3D glasses. Okay, no, yeah, it is a bit 3D. It's a crazy long sleeve T-shirt. Yep. So yeah, I mean, Wonka. I don't think it takes anything away from the Gene Wilder version to have an origin story for Wonka if it's done by really good people. Who directed it? I'm just going to look at that because the guy needs to be named. Come on, my browser's going fucking mad on me here. Yeah, that's not working. Let's try this. Paul King is the director who's doing Wonka and also did the Paddington movies. Simon Dave says, "Love my video on Godzilla minus one. Really enjoyed that film. I'm glad, Dave. It's just something different and something special, and people should see it." Professor Strangefinger are leaving us already. I'm officially inviting you to and the wife to come to Denver, Colorado, and we'll serve you every need. Thank you. I'm not sure we can do that. The money is just not there. But Clayton, yeah, you got to go see Godzilla minus one. It is terrific, and I loved it. And the cinema was packed when I saw it. And the lovely thing, it was packed full of young people. It wasn't just old fart kaiju fans like me. It was a wide range of ages and passionate about the genre. It's like when I saw The Boy and the Heron, the new Miyazaki movie I just saw. And there were kids who know and love Miyazaki movies, and there were older people as well. It went across the age spectrum, just people who love good cinema. Clayton says, "Going to take my son." I think so, yeah. I'm not sure how old your son is, but there are some very tragic things that happen in that movie. But it's a fine and wonderful film. 27's fine, yeah. I think, just make sure you got tissues there because it does make you weep up a little bit. Professor Strange for you says, "I'll have a bake sale to raise funds." Thank you, mate. Young 27, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Godzilla minus one. Terrific stuff. Actually, I'm going to review a movie made 21 years ago by the same director as Godzilla minus one. That's the one I'm doing with Green Slime. So yeah, Teacher Dude says, "I love the way conservatives complain about changes to Wonka, but the original book had to be rewritten for the US market back when it came out due to its racist language." Yeah, I can see that. Roald Dahl was of his time, of course, but I think that Wonka, I'm going to go in with an open heart and just enjoy it for what it is. Bring Terry to the States GoFundMe. Um, I can't be a part of that because if somebody wants to do it, I don't mind, but I don't have the energy to do that. Do we think we'll ever see a Gorgo minus one? We could. I mean, Gorgo has a certain naive charm about it, but I think they'd have to re-release Gorgo on 4K first to get the audience up for Gorgo. Thank you, Professor Strangefield. I appreciate that. I try to do what I can on the channel to share a passion, and I do that as best I can. There's sometimes a struggle, sometimes not, but most of the time it's a joy. Reptilicus 2 Electric Boogaloo. Absolutely. Yeah, Gorgo was good. Congo was good too, the one with the giant ape and Michael Goff. Just mad kaiju movies from England made on crazy little budgets with character actors that they cleaned out of Curzon Street nightclubs. Yeah, let's see. I only got a few more things here. This one is a imprint release from this month that I didn't get a free copy of. Godzilla Meets Whiskey Law. Simon McKay with Stephen Boyd, Camilla Sparv. It's also got Jeremy Kemp, Liam McKern, Michael Redgrave. Nice little obscure Eurospy movie, which Imprint have just put out, and I enjoyed it. Stephen Boyd was always an interesting actor. I liked his stuff. Camilla Sparv was a beautiful actress who was also at the time the girlfriend of a producer. And directed by Val Guest. Leo McKern's a really nasty guy in this one. But Simon Kay, Professor Strangelove says, I have a kitty sleeping on my legs. Oh, sweet. And yeah, I enjoyed Simon Kay. The other one I want to get from this month that I didn't get a copy of was Dead Heat in the Merry-Go-Round with James Coburn. I do want to get that one. But I recommend Simon Kay. And the other thing too is imprint movies don't have region coding on them, so you can get them wherever you are and enjoy them. And I like that a lot. I actually got all the lobby cards from this one as well, which is kind of cool. I picked up a lobby card haul a long time ago, and I really enjoyed rewatching that one. This one, my friend Trevor, I've got a friend called Trevor, who is an enabler, because every now and then he'll send me a Facebook message with pictures of a box full of DVDs and Blu-rays, going, do you want any of these? I just picked them up in a haul. And he never charges me for them. Absolutely, Cinema Dave. Imprint is a wonderful label, and they're marvelous people, and they've got some upcoming stuff that's going to blow everyone's mind. But Trev said to me, do you want these? So he gave me The Grudge and The Grudge 2 on DVD. This is the Sarah Michelle Gellar one, not the original Korean one. And the second one's got Amber Tamlin, Russ Tamlin's daughter. Professor Strangefinger. Our favourite animated film, Watershed Down's your favourite? My favourite animated film, let me see. That's a toughie. I like so many of them. I like all of them Studio Ghibli movies. I think they're all marvellous. There's not one of them I won't watch repeatedly. Favourite animated film? I like Fritz the Cat. I like all the Ralph Bakshi ones. Geez, that's a tough one. Favourite animated film? Three Caballeros. The Disney one that he did in the 1940s with Donald Duck, Panchito, and Jose Carioca, which blends live action with animation. It was one of those movies they made in the 40s to get Pan-American friendship going when the Nazis were trying to seduce South America away from North America. And that one's got some beautiful animation and fantastic music. Between Three Caballeros, Three Happy Chappies and Snappy Serappies, and Saludos Amigos, that's as good as it got with Disney. Heavy Metal, yeah. Roger Morgan says, love the Harry Palmer spy flicks. Not a lot of people know that. Yeah, Imprint put them out too in a box set, which was marvelous. Heavy Metal, Porco Rosso or The Incredibles. Yeah, I can see that. That's definitely valid. But yeah, so Simon Kay, yeah, I want to see the Dead Heat in the Merry-Go-Round again. Middle-aged Geek Girl said I could buy one more Blu-ray, so I'm going to buy that one. Yeah, Simon Kay, all over the place. Heavy Metal, yeah. I got a copy of Heavy Metal from Umbrella. They put it on Blu-ray about it maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and it's a nice pressing of it. And also the magazine Heavy Metal was a great kind of. So just got a few quick ones I'll go through. This is really bad, but I'm going to watch it again. Ballistic X versus Ever with Antonio Banderas and Lucy Liu. Really bad action film. Everybody hates it, but I got it for $1. Innocent Blood, which was also known as a French vampire in America, I think. John Landis. I got that one for $1. Supernova, the uncut version with James Spader and Angela Bassett. Saw that a long time ago, but I've forgotten it, so I'm going to rewatch that. Let's see. Princess Mononoke, absolutely. That's wonderful. Heavy Metal 2, not so great, Roger Morgan. You're right. And this one I've talked about on the channel recently, but I got a legit copy of it finally. A really transgressive drama called Alexandra's Project, where a guy comes home, his wife's left him, but left him a videotape, which is really a confronting film. Little Rolf de Heer joint, hard to find, but I found a copy of it finally. It says, as powerful as Paint Stripper. And it is. Oh, yeah, Akira. Absolutely. Oh, I should have thought of Akira. Fantastic film. I like a lot of anime. Watch When the Wind Blows recently. Very confronting. It is bad and not an upbeat ending, but still worthwhile. Absolutely. Why is Chuck North staring motionless in the man cave? Yeah, plank of wood. Yeah, Chuck Norris. Yeah, that's one of the That's one of the. Hang on, that's one of the shelves that I still haven't reorganized. Yeah, the cap is great. Timu sells them. I mean, I've got 4 other ones I'm going to put in the channel in the next week or so. But yeah, I like this one. Nice and simple, and nobody doesn't like a cap with a cat on it. It's on brand. That's okay, Keith. Sometimes typing goes west on us. But yeah, Chuck Norris. My favorite Chuck Norris movie is Way of the Dragon because Bruce Lee beats the shit out of him and kills him. When the Wind Bones was drawn so well, considering the end of the world and all. Yeah, absolutely. It's I think it was based on a book. My favorite Chuck Norris movie is one where he fought Michael Myers. Which one was that? But yeah, Chuck Norris. Have you seen him lately? He's had so much work done. His face looks even creepier. Fire and Ice, great animation with some sexy rotoscope in there. Yeah, was that a Ralph Bakshi one? I think it may have been. Don't remember the title. That's okay. But yeah, Chuck Norris is just so bad as an actor. Yes, he was a good martial artist. All credit to him for that. Takes dedication. But yeah, Lone Wolf McCade is my favorite Chuck Norris movie. I've got one. Which one have I got? I've got The Octagon, which I picked up because it was $1 on Blu-ray at a op shop. But I haven't rewatched it. There's so much good stuff to watch, and so many piles of things around to watch them in. I've got a pile of things there. I'm redoing the shelving for the back room where the movies are. Finished Chinese movie. Let's see. Can't see that bit on there. Jade Warrior. Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, Jackie Chan. Fantastic. A good thong, but it can be embarrassing. Chuck and Lee and Way of the Dragon. Nice, yeah. I saw that in the cinema. I was into Kung Fu movies before Bruce Lee died because my friend and I did a bit of martial arts training and we made homemade nunchucks out of broom handles and bits of nylon rope. But yeah, Bruce Lee I loved. All Bruce Lee movies. I was shattered when he died and surprised as hell because he's only 32. But I've got a really quality Umbrella Blu-ray set of his movies. Hopping Vampire movies. Yeah, I've got the Mr. Vampire movie collection, which were put out I think by Arrow or one of those English labels. So I've got a lot of Jean Shear movies. Hopping Vampire is great. There's also one made in America, low budget, called The Jitters, which is worth checking out if you can. Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle, Professor Strange figure, absolutely. Kung Fu Hustle's great. Any of those Stephen Chow action comedies from Hong Kong are marvelous. They're just fantastic, like Shaolin Soccer and things like that. Richard Morgan says, for years all nunchucks were cut out of films in the UK. That's a pity because nunchucks make a film. I don't care what the movie is. It could be a rom-com. Throw in some nunchucks and It's much more interesting. Right, Where the Wind Blows was based on a book by Raymond Briggs. Thanks, Damien. Seen the vampire film with the bald girl and Peter Fonda. Is that Naja? I think it is. And it was filmed on, part of it was filmed in a really low res format. I picked up a DVD of that about a year ago and I watched it and I didn't mind it. It's not bad at all. Yeah, the Stephen Chow movies are like live action Warner Brothers cartoons. They're fantastic. But yeah, there's a couple of vampire films with Peter Fonda in it. Yeah, absolutely. And it's no use putting that kind of a movie onto Blu-ray or 4K because it was filmed in such a low-res format. You're not going to get any love. So DVD is about where you want to have that film. Even Napoleon Dynamite has nunchucks, says DB Cooper. It does. Keith F says, recently rewatched The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll. I've forgotten what a little gem it is. It is. Paul Massey, I think, in that one. Hammer film. But yeah, it works. I think the differentiation between Jekyll and Hyde in that is subtle but interesting. Clayton says, I saw an early IFC Channel 8 last night, Naja. Yep. Worth checking out if you can find it. Roger says, original sound was off, freaked me out when I was younger. Yeah, it's got Reggie Naldo doing that Nosferatu type vampire. Weird thing is that the TV remake of Salem's Lot was filmed about 60 or 70 kilometres from here in a town called Creswick, which is really weird because if you look at it, it's supposed to be in America, but it's recognisably Creswick, and I love that. But yeah, there are a few copies that turn up in op shops here of Naja. Did I ever see the comedy movie Jekyll and Hyde Together Again? I think I saw it on VHS back when video shops were open, but I remember nothing about it. But the interesting one was a Hammer Jekyll and Hyde movie called The Ugly Duckling with Bernard Bresslaw in it from 1959, and that one's worth checking out. It's basically the Nutty Professor before the Nutty Professor. Jerry Lewis stole it from Hammer. But yeah, there are. I also like Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde with Ralph Bates and Martine Beswick. That one's a good one to watch too. Bit of a gender bender, and there's a new one with Susie Eddie Izzard in it, which I hear bad things about, but I'm going to watch. Clayton says, uploaded Nosferatu last year for the 100th birthday. Recorded the musicians live during a screening here in Austin. Fantastic. Nosferatu still has that vibe about it. And Murnau, interesting guy, did fantastic work. And I'm going to tell you how Murnau died. Interesting, and I'm not being at all pejorative. Murnau was in his limousine, driving his limousine in the hills of Hollywood, while his chauffeur, who was a Filipino guy, was, let's just say, polishing his gear stick. And he lost control of his car and it crashed. So that's how Murnau died. Released on VHS in the 90s, he's locally famous or infamous. Is that Nosferatu? Yeah, I like Nosferatu. They're doing a remake of it as well with Bill Skarsgård in it, which will be kind of interesting because it's a remake of a film that they didn't have the rights to make Dracula, so they made that one instead. So yeah, I've got a good copy of Nosferatu here, and It's kind of the seminal vampire film. It's the one from which everything else descended, whether it was legit because Bram Stoker's estate didn't give him the rights to it or not. It's the one that every vampire movie since then owes something to, and all credit to it for that. There's like a trilogy of German films that have had an enormous influence. There's Nosferatu, there's The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and there's Metropolis. Their influence on various genres is not to be underestimated. Roger Morgan says Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. He removed that, sorry. Stoker's widow had all the copies of Nosferatu burned. Not all of them. Keith F says, place these in order of preference. Keaton, Chaplin, or Lloyd. Chaplin I knocked down to the bottom because of his predilection for young girls. Keaton, I think, Lloyd, then Chaplin. Clayton says, except one found in a barn. So they found Nosferatu in a barn. That's the thing, they keep finding old things that were thought lost in the most obscure and wonderful places. And also things like that were on nitrate films, so they're incredibly flammable and incredibly fragile. Which is why I don't mind digital copies of things if you're preserving things. But I still like physical media as well. Scorsese paid for the restoration of Nosferatu. Scorsese, apart from the movies he makes, is incredibly valuable to cinema. He's two documentaries, the one on American cinema and the one on Italian post-war cinema, are Bibles to me. Fantastic. He explains things, he gives clips for them. If you haven't got them, you should have them because you will learn a lot about cinema and you'll have a notepad and write down the names of movies you want to see. Dearly, vampires dying in sunlight comes from Nosferatu. In Stoker's book, they just lost their powers during the day. Yeah. Professor Strange says, you are correct. I get so involved in the silent film. I have to strap pillows to the side of my head just to go full tilt. The Phantom Carriage is gorgeous. Absolutely. There's just so many movies that I want to see, particularly silent films, that I haven't. I just haven't got around to them. Keaton, definitely for me. I love all of his work. Yeah, Keaton was so creative with the action scenes. And you can tell the love of things. And the risks he took, like Harold Lloyd, the risks that Keaton took in a modern context are awesome. Haxan, yeah, Haxan's pretty wild. And Haxan, there's a good quality copy of Haxan on YouTube. So if people can't get it other ways, just find high definition Haxan on YouTube and you can watch that one. Yeah, Clayton, Buster for the win. Absolutely, Dave. So many films to watch, so little time. And I'm not going to get around to all the movies that I want to watch. And that's okay because I'd rather have more movies that I can watch than not enough movies. So I'm kind of good with that. I've come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to see everything I want to see. I'm not going to see the 40th James Bond film, for instance. But Professor Strange, you could not make Haxan nowadays. No, you couldn't. All of the actors are dead. Keaton and Chaplin, just gods of comedy, absolutely deeply. And Chaplin as a comedian, I appreciate. The Great Dictator was punching in the right direction. Somebody made a Nosferatu t-shirt with Don Knotts on Nosferatu. Yeah, I saw that, DB Cooper. That's a cool shirt. Deep cut for modern audiences too. The Kid with Chaplin is so sweet and perfect. Great vampire movie, Near Dark. Yeah, Catherine Bigelow's Near Dark is terrific. I've got a copy of it. I haven't watched it in a while. But the ensemble like Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton, just fantastic stuff. You do live in your film library now, Dave. And the other one is Movie Chatter, Stephanie, who does a live stream with Dave every week. She's good value as well. So you should check out Stephanie's Movie Chatter channel as well. But just so much good stuff. And every month, I mean, I'm in a fortunate position where Imprint and Umbrella send me a list every month and say, what do you want to review? And every month there's so much stuff that I either haven't seen or haven't seen in a long time. And it's like Christmas comes every month. And I feel honored by the fact that I'm in that position. And I know a lot of people aren't. But it's just a wonderful and joyous thing to see what's coming out and accessing it and reevaluating things I haven't seen in a long time as well. And for me, that's just so much fun. Dark City has some vampire-looking characters in it, Clayton. Yeah, it's really interesting because Alex Proyas, the director of Dark City and Gods of Egypt, is an Australian. I was friends with him on Facebook for a while. And he started going mad at everybody who criticized Gods of Egypt. And I sent him a message politely saying, listen, you don't need to go mad at the trolls and go mad at the people who didn't like your movie. If you low key it, it's going to be better for you. And he blocked me. So that was kind of interesting. Take a 68, see you, and thanks for being part of the live stream. Keaton, great, but my absolute favourite comedians were Laurel and Hardy. Yeah, I can see that. They were great working together. It's good to see people who worked together for a long time and liked each other. Yeah, they had their problems, but that double act is always fantastic. The double act I like at the moment is Paul Whitehouse and Bob Mortimer. Two solid English comedians. They're in their 60s now. And they do a TV show where they just sit fishing and chat with each other and pull pranks on each other. And it's marvelous because they're old friends and they just play off each other marvelously. And I like comedy double acts that do that. The bread turned out lovely, Professor Strange figure. Great. Yeah, Dark City was an Australian production. Damien says, I did a panel about Jackie Chan to compare with Keaton and Lloyd. Yeah, that's valid. Clayton says, may do homemade pizza tonight. I haven't had breakfast yet. I have, but I'm in the mood for a snack. So stop talking about food. Professor Strangefinger says, I hated it when I discovered the fact that I need reading glasses. But you can be stylish in the spectacle. Yeah, I mean, I've got graduated glasses. The top of these are just normal glasses. The bottom of these are reading glasses. It worked for me. Roger says, got some Kubrick films on my Christmas list. Wanted to watch Barry Lyndon again. Yeah, Barry Lyndon's the slower. Cinema Dave, have to head out. So happy I caught a live stream. All the best to you, Terry. You too, Dave. You and Jesse have a great holiday season, mate. Appreciate you coming in. But so just so many great movies and so many movies coming out every month. And the fact that we've got boutique labels in Australia that are doing fantastic work. These Final Hours, DB, yeah, that's on my list of best science fiction movies of Australian science fiction movies. These Final Hours, if you haven't seen it, which is made over in Perth where Damien lives, is a fantastic piece of cinema. Yeah, Mortimer and Whitehouse Gone Fishing is superb. I've downloaded all the episodes and I'm going to use them as my holiday season comfort watch. And I just like Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse just shooting the shit by a river. Thanks, Teacher Dude. Appreciate that. Damien says, always great when you do reviews. Thank you. I appreciate that, mate. Clayton says, this one of Kubrick films I'm not keen on, probably because of the lead. Yeah, I can see that. Middle-aged Geek Girl says, 7 minutes ago, get your final questions in. Hit that like button. Super chats are available, all the rest of the stuff. And then I will go and have another espresso because I did all of this only on one coffee, which for me is like tightrope walking. And YouTube channels work on two things, obsession and espresso. Thank you, Middle-Aged Geek Girl. Everybody give Middle-Aged Geek Girl some love. She moderates these videos. I get her up in the morning early. and she moderates the videos and keeps me on track in so many ways. Have I, Ian? Have I heard the podcast Film versus Film? No, I haven't. Do you recommend it? Make up my mind to buy items. Thank you, David. And that's why Umbrella and Imprint give me the movies, so that I encourage people to buy them. Professor Strange, there are so many to choose from. Do you have a favorite film director? Spielberg, and you like Spielberg? If I was going to pick one, I'd go Jacques Demy. Did Umbrellas of Cherbourg, did Young Girls of Rochefort, did Donkey Skin, did Model Shop. I just love Jacques Demy's movies. And his wife, Agnes Varda, as well. Cleo from 5 to 7 is my favorite movie by a female director. They did Crocodile Dundee versus Borat, Ian says. Yeah, I can see that. They're both stupid films. The Alma to your Alfred. Yes, Middle-Aged Geek Girl is. Happy holidays to all. Thanks, Middle-Aged Geek Girl, for keeping the cats in a row. Absolutely. Thanks to the chat from both you and you. Well, I just bought Umbrellas. I haven't watched it yet. Umbrellas of Cherbourg. It's a weepy, but it's fantastic. Young Girls of Rochefort is a joyous film. If I've got two joyous films in my pantheon, one's Paddington 2. The other one is The Young Girls of Rochefort, which is the last good Gene Kelly movie. Roger Morgan says, thoughts on Paul Verhoeven? He's done some good films. I think it's hit and miss with Verhoeven. And I didn't particularly like Starship Troopers because I think it loved the thing it was satirizing a little too much. That fascism thing, he leaned a little too heavily into it. Yep. Umbrellas of Cherbourg, Young Girls of Rochefort. I wouldn't watch them back to back. You can't Barbenheimer those buggers. But they're different moods. And the Umbrellas of Cherbourg has such. I always weep at the end of that one. Keith F., got to say goodbye. Great to spend a couple of hours with you all. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate you being in chat and asking the questions and just enhancing the experience, mate. So I really appreciate that. We've got 3 minutes to go. Any last thoughts from people? See you, Doug. Next time for a coffee. Kudos to Middle-Aged Geek Girl. Thank you. We appreciate that. What's that yellow board going to be? It's a bookshelf. Basically, it's a shelf. And I've got to find a place to put it. Damon, have a great Christmas to you and Sally. Time for a shower. Thanks, Damien, and I'll probably talk to you before the holiday season anyway, mate. And I appreciate you being up so bloody early. Get some caffeine into you. And hi to Heather as well, mate. You got bread to eat, Professor Strangefinger. You got things to do, mate. Best film to watch this Christmas. The next one, the one you haven't seen. The movie that you're kind of intrigued by and you want to see and you haven't yet. The best movie to watch this Christmas is something that will enhance your love of cinema, the thing you want to do next, something that surprises and delights you and takes you in a new direction. I don't know what the film is, and it's going to be different for everybody, but that's the film you should watch. TV Cooper, having Filipino comfort food for Lalu and watching the best internet comfort channel. Thanks, I appreciate that. I like a bit of Pinoy food myself. Thank you, Clayton. See you. And Bented, you enjoy your weekend too, mate. Professor Strangefinger says teleportation. No, last time I did that, there was a thing with a fly. Didn't work well. And we're going to get some ads in a moment. So if you want to support the channel, just stick around for the ads at the end. Yep, DB Cooper has been found and supports the channel. So, yeah, I'm going to wind it up here. So everybody, thanks a lot for being part of the live stream. It's been great. And the questions have challenged me, which I love. The camaraderie is fantastic. And the wonderfulness of the audience this channel has is something I'm never going to take for granted. So yeah, yep, that's it. It's 9 o'clock. I've got to knock that naughty clock that says it's time to go. Everybody take care and be safe. Bye.